Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. It's wonderful to be with you today. It's an amazing Thursday morning in Australia, in the land down under. And now, I can't believe this. Do you ever find that hay fever or sinus just makes you feel all dry on one part, then on the other part, it's just like liquid flowing out of every part of you? That's me. It's this time of year and it's not even spring. Can you believe it? Oh, rock on autumn weather down here. It's wonderful, wonderful to share time with you this morning. And I really super appreciate you being here and tuning in and learning and hopefully discovering greater understanding that helps you in your day-to-day life live our best life as the current reframe is going around the world. Now today I want to talk to you or share with you some information about the no-win situation, so please feel welcome to say good day. And I'm sorry that my phone's on. It's one of those weeks, isn't it, where if it could go wrong, it did go wrong. And the what do you call it? The internet, between the internet, the app, and everything else, if it could go wrong this week, it did. But that's okay because we've made it here. Now, the no-win situation is today. And if you're here for the replay, please do a hashtag replay because I really value you tuning in. In the no-win situation, we've all been there. So let me grab the infographic. And this happens either, in relationships, in any way, shape or form. So not just relationships when we're adults. It can happen when we've got children. Even as parents, we can feel like we're in a no-win situation. And certainly with complex PTSD, with a disorganised attachment and codependency happening along with it, we can reach times when we really do feel like we're in a no-win situation. And even though we've done all this work, we're like, how does this work? And a no-win situation is when we feel like I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. And it's challenging. So what are the ingredients of a no-win situation for us with complex PTSD? Remembering that it's, for us as adults, it's all come out of that dysfunctional, toxic family situation that we've had. And sometimes it really breaks my heart because I don't like talking about my family like this because it can seem like they're not other people who have hearts and that understand. But unfortunately, it's been endemic throughout multi-generations in my family. And when it's like that, it becomes a norm in the family to be that way. So when somebody like me who steps up and says, no, this isn't healthy, this isn't the way this is not a healthy way for us to do life, then it's confronting for them. And in my heart, I would never want to do that. But I'm also aware that we have to be really honest and to a deep place of authenticity in order to live with complete passion for our life and to break free of everything that's been handed down to us for many generations, okay? We are the first generation that's standing up as a mass. Okay, so we've never had the internet, we've never been able to connect around the world collectively and say, right, we're not doing what the generations before us have done, and we're going to stand up and make a difference for the generations that come after us. And it starts with me, okay? It really does. So what do we do and how do we identify with complex PTSD that we're in this no-win situation? So what are the ingredients that we will bring to the table and what we're doing in order that we can identify it and say, right, no more. And I do this. I absolutely do this in my day-to-day life, and I say, right, I'm not doing that behaviour anymore. I'm not going down that thought process anymore. Just no more, all right? Now, we need to recognise when we are over-controlling to make people safer to us. And we will do this, all right? We will believe that if we're just speaking out our truth, that's all it is. But we have to examine the deeper part of our heart motive. Why are we doing this? Do I need to try and control someone? Do I need to have it in a set order in order that I feel safe? We have to be willing to ask that question, all right? Now, don't feel bad. It's just a product of where we've come from, all right? And we can, with this information, be overcomers, okay? Shaming. Are we telling somebody, whether it's verbally or through our body language, that they don't belong? Okay, that unless you do things the way I want them done, that you don't belong. And we need to work through a process where we say it's okay that they're them and that they are an individual who has their own process. And believe me, in our family here, we have to do that a lot for the four of us, for myself and my 3 adult kids, because we are definitely all different and we all go about things different. So the level of communication you have is critical. The willingness to say, look, I'm sorry, I can see that I'm doing that and I don't want to do it anymore. I did this, let's just call it 8 years ago with my eldest one, and I'd say to him, right, you're an adult now, and our relationship had to change. So as we progressed through the years, I'd say, right, you need to tell me if you don't want me checking in on you. I've been your mother for 18 plus years. Let me know. And he would let me know what he did and didn't need, and that is really good communication, okay? I never said he didn't belong, but we have to be careful that we're not saying through our words and our actions that, you know, for example, unless you let me check in with you, then, you know, you're not part of this family. And oh my goodness, just think about how much that happens in your family, that if you don't act in a manner that is in line with the family rules, that you get the message that you don't belong. So we need to make sure we're not doing it to other people. Excessive criticism. If we're criticising someone or a situation excessively, there is some part of that where we don't feel safe. If we can work on identifying where we don't feel safe, then we can go, right, I can address that issue now. It's manageable and I can work my way around this. I can work my way around the trigger. I can identify it, and then I can sit down and either identify what I need to do, or I can sit down and have a conversation with whoever I need to have a conversation with. See a therapist too. It's always validating to have other people around you who are in recovery and want to live life recovered and healthy, because they are willing to learn and absorb so much more information, and there's more stuff coming out daily, especially with our neurology and our biology, that helps us understand what's happening internally in order that we can direct our external life as well. Oh, look, I don't monologue. I hope I've never monologued. But I'm aware of what it means from the point of view that there are people who just want to talk and talk and talk, and they never want to listen, okay? So if someone just wants you to sit there going, and they're not a therapist, okay, they're not your therapist, either way. You want to know that if you're doing it, it's not healthy. Connection, communication, consistency. These are the healthy things, all right? Overall bossiness. When I read this, I was like, I'm so done for. I'm the first child and I am bossy. Well, okay, I was bossy in the past. I'm still a strong person, but this is not talking about being first child and bossy and directing traffic, okay? This is the bossiness that's derived from feeling that you're not safe and everyone just needs to keep doing what I tell them to do and then everything will be all right, okay? Life's like a pizza. All the pieces need to work together to make a really good, tasty pizza. So let's do the work together. So what can we do in recovery? What are we going to, how are we going to manage this in our day-to-day life so that we feel safe to be vulnerable, we feel safe that we can begin to open up and have really loving, passionate, kind, compassionate, caring, fun relationships. Remember the fun and the curiosity. We want to recognise these ingredients when we're doing them in our day-to-day life, okay? So build an awareness around one of them. So take a week, choose one and see if it's happening for you, okay? Now, when I mentioned, I grew up as the first child and not bossy, I want you to understand too that we can be put in that situation in our family where we actually become the person that even the adults go to for their stuff. Okay, so a really good example of that was when I was 21-ish, 22, not sure, I'd ring my mum every week. I was living about 6 hours away from her and she'd just had a new baby after having me 21 years ago. And every week that I'd ring, she'd talk about her and I'd listen and, for someone who was 21, I'd, offer support, do whatever. And then eventually one day I went, hang on, she never actually asked how I am. Doesn't a mother normally do that? But I get it. I get why she didn't. So we have to build these awarenesses in where our family has relied on us to be there for them, but they're not actually aware that they haven't built in an awareness that they need to be there for us too. Okay, so there's two sides to the relationship, whoever it is. So with my kids, I'm there for them if they need me because they're adults now, and they're there for me if I need to go. Like, I can just go, okay, Josh, you got 5 minutes, I just need to talk this through. And he's great. He knows he can just sit there and listen and I'll talk it through and I'll just go, oh yeah, I get it now. Okay? So it's a mutually beneficial thing, is a relationship. Alright? So we can develop these strategies and abilities to have these really healthy relationships. Okay. Now, I want you to differentiate between codependence and narcissism. Somebody who has these ingredients and takes them to the extreme of being purely selfish and using them against you and saying, well, that's just how I am. All right? They're very selfish and you need to look into them having narcissistic qualities. Not everybody has narcissistic personality disorder. That's something that has to be done by a professional. But they can have narcissistic tendencies and they can take these ingredients and use them in the extreme. And if they are, you'll find they have a fight personality, okay? So Pete Walker talks about the fight personality, and it's the one that takes all these ingredients and they will strike out absolutely every single time in these manners, and it's not healthy, and the chances of them doing the work are not, the percentage is not high at this point in time. So you'll need to work out whether you can, whether that person wants to work together in order to recognise what's happening and take personal responsibility. And that can be in the same situation as well, where they've never understood why they are the way they are, And if they're prepared to do the work, that's great. Absolutely great. But we've got to work from the codependent side where I'm doing this and it's not healthy because I'm trying to keep me safe. All right? So reframe how we approach people. So take a step back before you're going to have a conversation and say, am I understanding why I'm doing this? And am I asking the impossible of somebody else to do something my way? Look at this as mums. When we get our kids to help us in the kitchen, they mirror us. They stand beside us and they'll do what we do. Okay, they'll peel the carrots like we do. They'll peel the potatoes. But we don't have to say, this is what you do. I'd give them the bare minimum and then they'd stand with me and work out their process for themselves. And that's what we need as adults. We need to let other people work out their process for themselves as well. Otherwise we get hooked into the whole codependent thing and that just, it wears thin. It's very tiring. It's not good for our health either, all right? It is not good for our health. Own our need for safety. It's okay to say that in this situation I am aware that I'm not feeling safe, but I want to do something about it. The not feeling safe comes from what was developed in my childhood, which is the fear response in the primitive part of our brain, and it's a response that's developed out of trauma. But as an adult, I can now begin to get hold of that and make my life increasingly happier and healthier because I'm aware that I can trust myself to make decisions about when I will be safe and if I'm not safe, what I'm going to do about it. Okay? Some really interesting facts, take some notes, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel welcome to ask. The more we become aware of this, the more we hook into a part of our brain, and the name just went straight out of my head, that we need to, in order that it helps work with our amygdala and our prefrontal cortex, in order that we can regain function in our brain to place order, which increases our safety feeling in day-to-day life. All right, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow morning for a Friday morning, and blessings and dreams. Bye for now.